Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I just want to make a quick video, just really introducing myself. And thanks for those who have already subscribed to the channel and those who have provided some content. My name is Greg, and here in New Jersey. I've been an English slash teacher tutor for 16 years now, and my journey began uh, actually here in New Jersey after my second visit to Brazil. I was looking for a place to live outside of the country back in 2008. And a friend of mine had encouraged me to visit Brazil and also to consider teaching ESL. I told them I had no experience ever whatsoever teaching, but I was really encouraged to consider it. And of course, upon my arrival in Brazil, many people wanted to learn and practice, English. So upon returning to the U.S., I decided to visit a couple of the language schools here, and one in particular called me out of the blue because they were in need of someone to fill in for a teacher who was actually leaving the school. And I had no experience whatsoever. And the exact comment that I received was, "You don't need experience. You're a native English speaker, and that's what's most important. The students feel much more comfortable with someone who's a native speaker." So 2009, fall of 2009 is, when it began. And from there, I've met wonderful teachers, um, over, the first couple of years. One in particular who was a franchise owner of the school where I first began teaching. And we kept that relationship up until today. So I was back and forth for a little while, but after a couple of years, I decided to take on private students, and many students preferred that mainly because the methodology and the approach was a lot different than what they were receiving in traditional schools. There's 3 points or 3 parts of learning English, which I believe it applies to all languages, which are conversation, pronunciation, and vocabulary. And those were 3 things that 90% of the students really, really wanted. They wanted the ability and the opportunity to engage in conversations within the community to improve their English at work, etc. So I really began to focus a lot on those 3 areas. And something a professor shared with me um, has to be about 14 years ago when early on, teaching. And he said, learning English as well as any other language, it's acquired. It's not really taught, it's acquired. And he just shared a simple example of a 2 or 3 year old who can hold a full fledged conversation with an adult without knowing all of the details, the intricate details of grammar. You ask an average 2 or 3 year old, what's a preposition, the parts of speech, etc. They really won't have a clue, but they're able to have a very extensive conversation with you. So he just went on to share that being around a language is how a person really learns and picks up the language. So I'm going to have a couple of videos following this one that will touch on acquiring a language, not so much learning a language, but I understand when a person says, I want to learn a second language or a third language, but we're going to really look at it from the perspective of acquiring it, being around it. And also, I'm going to share a lot of tips that would help improve, your English, your learning English, or your acquiring English. And, look out for those videos. I'll have a few later on today and definitely throughout the week. And please subscribe to the channel, drop any comments, any questions. I'll be here to answer.